already tapped the button. It's going live now.
Okay, I see the little message. Okay, all right, we'll call this regular monthly meeting to order. Let's see, the first item is to approve the agenda and any additions. Did everyone get a chance to review the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let's see, are there any additions or changes?
No.
No.
All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's see, Sandra, did you say aye?
I did, yes.
Okay, all right, motion passes. Okay, all right, so next thing is old business, and let's see, sales ratio study. Lauren, did you have an update this month on the sales ratio study?
I don't have an update. I just left that on there pending until we move forward. I guess I could say that I did get an email from Greg a couple of weeks ago that just said that they have been looking at the sales across the state, and there has been no, at this point, it's not showing that the pandemic has negatively affected sales across the state of Georgia.
Okay, I know I think that's what the, national news reports I've been seeing, basically saying the same thing, that, okay, but like I say, we'll keep that on there until we, ready to revisit that. So to keep that as a reminder each month. Okay, thanks, Lauren. So no action required, and we'll move on to new business. First item is a budget report.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna. Okay, so y'all should be able to see the budget report now on the screen share. Everything looks like it's in order. This is the budget report for 3 months. We've got March, April, and May. I know that some of our accounts are showing that they're a little bit over, but overall we have a surplus, and Carol likes to move that money to the accounts that are over at the end of the budget cycle. And we had already projected that some of these accounts would be over, especially like the contract labor account. We had gotten approval for extra money from the county commissioners, and then some of that money will also be coming from the MAP maintenance budget line items. So we have about $7,000 in there that will be moving to cover approximately half of that contract labor. And the dues and subscriptions will be coming out of our excess and our travel budget. So overall, we're fine. Our budget looks good. There are no problems.
Let's see, you have the reports from the county manager through May. Is that what I understood?
Yes, sir.
So there's still 1 month, the 1 month to close out the past fiscal year.
That's right. And
how does your grand total to date look overall? You say you.
Well, we're showing a balance of $42,842, but some of that money is for salaries and that sort of thing. So, but we still have
there's plenty left at the end of May. In other words, it looks like there's no problem for June then.
No,
absolutely. No, sir.
Okay.
Should June be about the same expenses as May, right at the 28,000?
I mean, well,
average, kind of, sort of.
I think it'll be less, honestly, Sandra, because that contract labor I'm not sure. Let me see what they paid in contract labor for.
Yeah, but the only
For
reason I'm
May.
asking, if it runs close to that, you're gonna end up with like 14 or 15,000 at the end of the year. Then you've got to cover these overages.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, we'll have,
That's not enough to cover the overages.
do what now?
If you take the 42,000 and you take, say, 25,000 or 20,000 away from that, and your balance is left there versus your overages that it's got to cover, it may or may not cover those, and you may have to ask her to amend your budget.
Well, they've already amended to give us the half of that contract labor. They had said
Okay.
they would give us like, I think $10,000 or $12,000. I don't
Okay.
even think we're going to end up needing that much, but we already had approval for that.
That's good.
So like in March, our total spending for the month was 17,000.
Right.
And in April, it was 40. Because in April, we paid that full contract amount that we had asked for the supplement on.
Right.
So I would think that approximately 20,000 is the average spending.
Okay.
But, you know, with that being said, they've also stopped any purchasing and that sort of thing. So usually the month of June is down.
Right. That's correct.
Lauren, are you expected to, I know, say like with the federal government, oftentimes if you've got monies left over, you're expected to spend it on other projects. Is that the case with the county or not?
No, sir. No, sir. Like usually toward the end of the budget cycle, like in May, she asked us to stop all spending unless it's an emergency purchase so that she can kind of finalize everything out. And any money that was budgeted for us that does not get spent, I would assume, and I don't know this for a fact, but I would assume that it is used for the other departments who had overages and where the county commissioners had allowed them extra funding for things. Is that correct, Sandra?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So anything we don't spend just goes back into the main bucket, I suppose.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thanks, Lauren. Let's see, we still got one more month for the past fiscal year, and then now we're in the new fiscal year now, since we're in July.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And let's say I did see in May where our attorneys submitted an invoice. I know they don't, they had caught that up and had billed for where it was hit the past fiscal year, it looked like.
Yes, sir.
Which I know with the, okay, great, thanks. Let's see, if there's no more questions, we'll move on to the next item.
Okay.
So Lauren, you want to pull your agenda back up?
Yes, sir. I was doing that.
Okay. I was just waiting to see what it was.
It is the Freeport exemption for Brown Brothers Sand. If y'all will remember, the past two meetings, we had denied this exemption because they had not revised their return. They had left lines C and D on section 5 blank. Now this is, I can't screen share this because it is confidential information. However, they do have the opportunity to amend it, and they have amended those lines C and D so that they now match their return. And so we're going to recommend approval on this at this time.
Okay, so we have a recommendation to approve the Freeport application of Brown Brothers Sand. Let's see, do we have a motion to approve Lauren's recommendation?
I move that we approve Lauren's recommendation.
I second.
Okay, now we have a motion on the floor for discussion. Any discussion on this matter?
For clarification, the line C and the elements, items C and D that you're talking about, Lauren, are under paragraph 5, Freeport level, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
They had previously left those blank.
Okay.
And so they did amend them to match their return. I think there was just some confusion about how to fill the application out. And we had a discussion with the accountant for them, and she was able to get things straightened out.
Okay. That's all the question I have.
Okay, let's see if there's no further discussion. I call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Okay, let's see, then moving on, the next item agenda is change of assessment reports, real and personal. Or you want to explain that one, share your recommendation on that one?
Yes, sir. These are just that running list that I give you guys of everything that has changed since we sent out notices of assessment. And so I have the list that you have in front of you shows the changes that were made to the real property. And then the next page shows the changes that were made to personal property. And just to remind you again, the previous versus the current value, that previous value is last year's value. It's not the value that was sent on the original notice of assessment.
Say that again.
That previous value column is the 2019 value. That's not the 2020 value that was sent on the original notice this year. So the current value is the corrected value, but that previous value is the 2019 value. It's not the previous 2020 value.
Okay.
Let's see, Lauren, is this just a report for?
I do need a motion to approve the new 30-day values.
Okay, all right, so let's see, Lauren's recommended that we approve the new 30-day values for the, you want to do them at one time or we got, or
One
both
time
together?
fine.
For the real and personal assessment reports.
I move that we approve the real and personal assessment reports, 30-day value for the assessment reports.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the 30-day assessment reports presented by Lauren. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
I've tried to reshare the agenda, but I don't, is it showing up for you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Bear with me just a minute, Lauren.
Yes, sir.
Okay, somehow I minimized my screen. Okay, now I'm back. Let's see, the next item is the current appeals report. Lauren, what do you have?
Okay, I'm gonna get this share going. Okay, so you'll see a list of the active appeals for the current year. You'll notice Warehouser has appealed on, I believe it's 14 parcels. 14 parcels that Warehouser's appealed. These, they own 78, I believe it's 78 parcels in Talbot County. These 14 parcels are the only parcels that are not under a covenant. And as you may or may not remember, the state of Georgia offered a new program for timber companies this year called QTP. It's Qualified Timber Property. The owner would have had to apply with the Department of Revenue. And then once approved, the Department of Revenue would begin valuing their land using the methods that they've come up with to value timber property. Warehouser did not apply for that, even though technically they would have been qualified. But however, the appeal values or the values that they have asserted are similar to QTP values. They're actually asking for values less than the Forest Land Protection Act values would be. So basically, they could have qualified for QTP, but did not apply. They qualified for forest land, but did not apply. But they're wanting us to give them those values like that property was in some type of covenant. And so that's what's going on with those 14 appeals.
And they're just currently active appeals, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And, but I do see those going on to the Board of Equalization. I don't feel like that's something that we can settle on. If you'll notice, the museum property did file an appeal on the 20th, the last day for appeal. They filed an appeal on value and taxability. And the other appeals, I think we have discussed those basically, most of those in previous meetings. But so right now we have about 26 appeals. I think that's, I don't know if that says 26 or 28. I think it's
26.
Yeah. That will probably be going, well, those 3 for Marcus Prather, those are arbitration, so those won't be going to the Board of Equalization. And then we have a couple of 30 days that may or may not move forward. But we will have some appeals going to the Board of Equalization.
So the museum appeal will go where?
He appealed to the Board of Equalization also.
Okay.
And let's see, on the 30-day notice that you presented a few minutes ago, those were the ones where the adjustments had been made, and now they have another 30 days to decide whether to appeal. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And so I guess they're still considered active as well, or?
Yeah, their status is a 30-day status. And then at the end of that 30 days, well, anytime during the 30 days, if they re-register their appeal, it'll move back to active. If at the end of the 30 days, the period runs out and they have not continued their appeal, it just falls off. The appeal status shows withdrawn.
Okay. So when they first file the appeal, it's like in your court or the BOA's court to review.
Correct, yes, sir.
And so, on the museum property where we have had our attorneys review and assist us with it, have you shared the current status with them?
That they have continued their appeal?
Right, that, that was the latest development.
I have not, no, sir.
Right, be sure to do that since we had them involved. And then any of these others, whether it's warehouse or, so you use your resources where you need to. And then, like on the warehouser, for example, I know if you don't resolve it, then I think on their form, they check, like you pointed out, the one that's there that had arbitration requested, they request on that form, don't they? Whether they want it to go to the Board of Equalization, et cetera.
Yes, sir.
So in other words, that would be, I think you forward them then to the Clerk of Superior Court, is that right?
Yes, sir.
But how do you, let's see, remind us how the property owner, they know that you were unable to, or that you forwarded it?
So, I will send them a notice that is called a no change notice. That lets them know that for whatever reason, I didn't make a change based on their appeal. And on that no change notice, it states that it will be forwarded to the Board of Equalization and so on and so forth.
So it's like you have some standard forms,
Yes,
or letters that it's called the
Yes,
no
sir.
change notice. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So then they know the status. Okay. Okay. Well, like I say, feel free to, use the attorneys, and then you can propose to them what you plan to do, when you, and just get their help where you need it there.
Well, like Weyerhaeuser, they've appealed across the state of Georgia, everywhere
Right.
that they have holdings. It's not just Talbot County. I think
Right.
Talbot County may have, in count, we may have the most appeals. But Harris County has less appeals, but almost double the acreage that's under appeal.
Right.
So their value is quite a bit. That's under
Well,
appeal.
here's what I'm thinking of, Lauren, is you remember several years ago, we had a big timber company that appealed numerous parcels. Seemed like it was, well, I won't say the name but it was a big timber company that had multiple appeals. And I remember that it went to the Board of Equalization. And then seemed like after that, there was the mediation that we held.
Yes, sir. We're
seemed
required
like
if it goes to the Board of Equalization and they continue their appeal, they don't accept the board value, then at that point, we do have to have a settlement conference.
Right, and that's where it was. That's right. It was settlement instead of mediation. It wasn't a formal mediator. It was a settlement conference. You're right. And that, but that what I recall is, of course, we had the county attorney, and then, of course, the timber company had their attorney. And what I want is the attorneys, to have early involvement rather than get involved at 3 or 4 more steps down the road and have to get up to speed on something. I'd rather have them get them early involved, even if it doesn't get that far. So that was just the point there. So, okay. All right. Thanks, Lauren. Any more questions about her appeal list? I think there's no action. You just,
No action.
It's just a report you've got here.
Correct.
Okay, if there's no more questions, we'll move on. Let's see then. Let's see, the next item of business is homestead applications for 2020.
Yes, sir. And y'all should have a copy of those.
Now remind us, that's where the deadline was extended due to the pandemic. Is that what's going on here?
No, not necessarily. I mean, they could have had applied for conservation in response to their assessment notice. So they can do a conservation application during the, you were asking about homestead? I'm sorry.
Did I skip the agenda? What, I thought homestead was the next item.
It is, that was my mistake.
Okay,
The homestead applications, I think that this one is a case, let me just pull this one to be sure, but I believe this is a case of it coming off due to a, transfer. Let me look. Okay, so what happened in this case is anytime a property transfers, the homestead's automatically removed. And the only thing that happened here was that they were adding the wife's name. And so when they got their assessment notice, they realized their homestead had been dropped because of that transfer, and they came in to apply. So due to that fact, we recommended it to be approved this year because it was basically, there really wasn't, they didn't move, they didn't do anything to lose their homestead except for add an owner name to their record.
okay, all right. Okay,
And
thanks.
then the 2021 homesteads, obviously, they've just applied early.
Okay. Well, let's say now, you making a recommendation for both, or do we need to do each digest year separately?
We
or-
need to do each digest year separate, but I am recommending approval.
Okay. All right, so let's see, Lauren has recommended approval. She's got one application for digest year 2020. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move that we approve Lauren's recommendation, that we approve Lauren's recommendation for 2020
I
for the
second.
homestead application.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
See, Sandra, did you vote?
She
I did.
Okay, thanks. All right, motion passes. All right, we'll move on to the homestead applications for digest year 2021. Let's see, we got 3 recommendations for approval. Let's see, do we have a motion to approve Lauren's recommendation?
I move that we approve Lauren's recommendation for homestead applications for 2021.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Let's see, motion passes. Let's see, Lauren, then let's see, what's next? Is it the
conservation.
Covey you were jumping to?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right, you want to present your recommendations?
I recommend approval on the conservations that are listed. Do you want me to go into further explanation? We've got some continuations. We've got a couple of new covenants, and then we have 2 renewals, and they'll also have a release because we're releasing the old covenant.
Okay, let's see, I believe they're pretty much self-explanatory. Let's see, do we have a motion to approve Lauren's recommendation for the CUVA applications?
I move that we approve Lauren's recommendation for the COVA exemption applications.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now, is there any discussion or questions for Lauren on any of these? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Motion carries.
I need a motion for those releases also.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the releases as presented?
I move that we approve the releases as presented.
Second.
Okay, if there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks. All right, motion carries. We approve the applications and the releases. Let's assume, are there any breaches this
No,
month?
sir.
Okay, so then we'll move on. Let's see, the next item is the digest submission reports.
Yes, sir. And this is just basically FYI. Y'all have a copy of those in front of you. They're not to be signed at this time. Once the tax commissioner gets ready to do the digest submission, she should give me several days notice. And then at that point, the chairman would come in and sign these reports. The county commissioners and the Board of Education also have some places where they have to sign. That was just an FYI for your review.
Let's see, remind me, Lauren, doesn't the board, do we have to have board action? I know I sign as chair each year, but I was thinking I had to have the authority of the board.
Well, I'm thinking that once the board approves the preliminary digest on line item I and the preliminary digest on line item J and the consolidation reports, that basically once they approve all the numbers in those, that will give you authorization to sign the digest submission reports.
Okay, you saying they're incomplete at this time?
Well, no, they're not incomplete at this time. It's just not time to submit them. Once the tax commissioner finalizes things, they'll ask for us to submit them. But these reports contain numbers from I, J, and K. So once the Board of Assessors approves I, J, and K, you will automatically have approval to sign the forms from H.
Okay, you clarify. Okay, so that's what I recall each year. I was thinking that we had to approve, so we approve our part. Okay, I'm with you now. So then the school board and county commissioners, they set the millage rate. And I sign, but we don't approve of what the millage, okay, I'm with you now. So we just approve our portion of the digest, okay?
Yes, sir.
So then H is just an FYI, is that what you?
Yeah, it's just for you guys to have to look over, that's all.
Okay, thanks. Are there any questions for Lauren on the digest or even the process?
I am not certain. I see digest submission reports, and the next item that on my packet has growth, Talbot County inflationary growth by tax
Right.
district. Talk about the same thing?
Yes, sir. So everywhere from that growth report all the way till you get to the page that says, once you see the page that says consolidation on the top of it,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
that is where you would stop. So everywhere from growth to the page just before the consolidation are the digest submission reports.
Okay.
That very last page of the digest submission report says appeal statistics for current year.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm looking at then, a preliminary digest for personal property and for real property. Is that right?
Okay, now those reports are huge. So I sent them in a separate email. I did not print those because it would have been over 500 pages. So I sent those in a separate email just for you to just, spot check. But line item K, the consolidation reports, will show a summary of everything that's in I and J.
Okay.
open up. So we're done with line item H, and here is the personal property value report for taxable items only. That's all accounts that have a combined value of over $7,500. This report shows the account name, when their last return was filed. It also shows the audit date, the account number, and the previous year and the current year value, as well
Let's
as
see,
the
Lauren, are
tax.
you pulling something up on your screen? I see the agenda.
Oh, yes, sir. Hold on. I apologize. Thank you, Dan.
I can tell you started trying to walk us through something.
Okay, so this report that's showing here now, and you should have gotten a copy of it in your email. This is the personal property value report with taxable only accounts. That means those accounts that are over $7,500. You've got a name, the last date that they filed a return, if that account's been audited, an account number, tax district, previous year value, and current year value. And if we go down to the last page, you can see the total for the 2020 digest year is 72,145,649. That's the total of the personal property accounts that are taxable.
Well, I see this shows a good status of our audit that we've got underway. Roughly, is that roughly half of them that have been audited so far? What's that showing?
I don't have that information in front of me, Dan. I told you I had explained last time that they had changed the way they were going to send us our audit reports, and we would only be getting those at the last day of the month.
Well, I'm just looking at that audit date column. I see a number, you know, that.
So if we go over here, because they're auditing all accounts, which is a different report. And if you see the audit dates in this all accounts, let's see, I don't know if it shared that for you or not.
Oh, I see. So one report was just taxable. So I see so if it was, as you said,
right,
the boat.
So I was just talking about the taxable accounts earlier because those are the ones that are in the digest totals.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones y'all will be approving to submit.
I was just looking, the ones that were blank, I assume are still pending or still to be done, where it was done over the 3-year cycle.
Yes,
okay. Okay. That was just the point I was making. I'm sorry.
Okay. So
now you need action on this. Is this
right. I need approval for the personal property digest.
Okay. So you're recommending approval?
Yes, sir.
Is that a question? Okay. All right. So let's see. Lauren has recommended approval of the personal, I guess it's called the preliminary personal digest. Do we have a motion to approve Lauren's recommendation?
Approve, I move that we approve Lauren's recommendation on the preliminary, for submission of the preliminary digest report. I think
that's right. The preliminary, the personal property. Okay.
Personal properties. Yeah, second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Okay. Now,
So
now
I'm just going to
discussion.
clarify there that motion was to approve the personal property values for 2020.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Chip. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And I see there's the grand total there, the previous value, and then the 2020.
Right. It's up
It shows
about
it went up, the grand total went up
not
slightly.
quite $1 million.
Right. Okay. Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. The motion passes. Okay. Let's see, Lauren, I believe you got similar report for the real property.
Yes, sir. So I also sent you guys that report in a separate email. Let me get to the last page yet. And it does not show a total versus last year's total, but I do have the consolidation sheets for us to look at in the next line item. So this is just, y'all had already approved these values to be mailed for notice of assessments. Y'all have approved all of the changes since the notices of assessments have gone out. Every time we've made changes, y'all have approved those with the 30-day reports. So this is just approving the real property digest values for 2020. The final.
Okay, so you're recommending that we approve this preliminary
Yes, sir.
digest for the real property values?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's see, we've got a recommendation from Lauren. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the preliminary digest for real property for 2020 as presented by Lauren.
Second.
Okay, thanks. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, I said it.
Let's see, pull that back up a second, Lauren. Okay, I see the Zion Church restoration. Is that, let's
You
see.
can see under the class, it shows exempt E2, E1.
Okay, so they're still exempt. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was just curious. I see the work going on there that they're in the church fixed back up.
Restored. Yes, sir.
Okay, so this report still shows all the exempt property as well.
Right, and you can see
Okay.
the classes like this property, the Zimmerman properties in conservation, it's classed as a V5. This last one's an R4, that's a residential property. So,
Okay, so the real property then includes all, whereas the earlier report for personal property was whittled down to taxable.
yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. That clarifies my question.
And now when I sent those reports, I did send the reports that had all accounts, and then I just had separated the ones that were out, the over 7,500, because the tax commissioner usually asks for one with just the taxable accounts on it.
Okay. I guess they do that so they don't inadvertently send a bill. Okay, thanks. All right, let's see, then moving on, the next item is the consolidation reports. Lauren, what do you have on this item?
Okay, yes, sir. I had sent you guys the consolidation reports initially with the main packet, and then this morning I sent an updated consolidation report. And the reason for that is late yesterday afternoon, the tax commissioner's office realized that they had a typo on a portion. And there are some numbers that go into the consolidation report that we get directly from the tax commissioner, such as the motor vehicles, how many tags they've sold on motor vehicles, the mobile homes, how many stickers they've sold on those, heavy duty equipment and timber. Those numbers come from them, and I plug them in to come up with a total value. So there was nothing really on our end that had changed, but she did realize that there was an error on her end. So I had to update those numbers, and it changed the total value on the report. Her error was on the motor vehicle section only, and it was almost $4 million typo. So with that being said, I revised those sheets and emailed them to you this morning, and I do have the new sheets to share now. And the main change is on page 2 under the only change is under the MV line on the second page of each consolidation sheet. And these consolidation sheets, if you'll notice at the top, this one says all. That means it's countywide. It's the unincorporated and all of the cities. It's a total. And then it's broken down to like 1, that's just the unincorporated. And then 2, for instance, is just Talbot. So it's broken down by the cities. But for the purpose of this, we'll just look at the all. That's the total digest. So that change happened on the MV line. There was a change in the number, the count, as well as the dollar value. And it changed the overall gross taxable also. So this is the correct report. This is the one that has all the values on it.
Okay, and if I understand on that, the difference between the two lines in yellow and blue there, the gross taxable, that's deducting the exempt property, the churches, and I guess I think of like the fall line property that's in the conservation, the Nature Conservancy, those kind of properties.
Well, the exempt you see there, it's in the about a quarter of a way down the page. It says exempt.
Okay.
It shows that there are 605 exempt accounts, 15,000 acres that are exempt, and $16.7 million.
Let's see the
So I
screen.
don't think, sir. So the
Let's see,
yellow
what
and
I
the
was
blue
looking
line
at
are
was,
not.
I guess it was a total there. There's, looks like 308 million, and then right below it, it has 265 million.
Yes, sir, but
What's
that
the
308 million is not less the exempt, because the exempt 16.7 million, and that difference is more than 16.7 million.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. What was the difference between those two numbers there? I see the line, the bottom one says gross taxable acres, but there's no title on the one above it. I assume it's just a grand total.
Yes, sir. I was trying to look and see if maybe that was a 40% value.
Well, it's not 40% of 308. I mean, it's way.
Yeah, it's way too big for that. I honestly, I would have to ask. I'm not sure. It does look like the gross taxable acreage of 231,000 is the 246 minus the 15,000 that are exempt. That does look like it matches, but maybe I'm not sure where the total value comes from on that line. It could be all these numbers less the exempt properties, less the exemptions, such as homestead, that sort of thing.
That's probably what it is. Probably the difference in all the CUVAs and everything else. So I was just curious. I just saw it there. And okay. So, but then the gross taxable value is, and that's the county-wide, is the 265.
Yes, sir. And I have that report from last year also, and I was gonna get that and let you look. I figured you'd want to see that. So here's last year's. Oh, goodness. It took over. Can you see that? On the right-hand side, it's 2019. Dan?
I can see it, yes.
Okay.
Lauren.
Yes,
Lauren,
sir.
let me make sure I understand what I'm looking at here. That 300 for this year, that 308 million,
Correct.
308 million. Can't quite see the number, but that 308 million represents the total property value in the county, the
Yes.
total real property values in the county.
No, that's personal property, that's motor vehicles, that's mobile homes, that's timber, that's heavy duty equipment, that's everything.
Okay.
That's the total value that Talbot County will collect taxes on for this year.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Is Dan talking?
Okay. Well,
Is that Dan?
y'all hold on just a second. Okay, Dan, I'll send it to you. Do you want me to give it to you right now, or do you want me to text it? Okay. Hold on just a second. So Dan got dropped off the call. That's him on the telephone. I'm trying to get him a number so he can just dial in, okay? If y'all bear with me for just a minute. Okay, he's trying to dial in. I had muted myself so I could step him through that. Give us just a second. I'm sorry. He said he thinks he opened too much stuff and his computer crashed. There we go. Okay. All right, Dan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just by phone. Can y'all
All
all
right.
hear me fine?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought for some reason my Outlook, I think I had too much stuff open on the computer, and the Outlook froze up, and I'm not able to. I think I'm gonna have to log off and start all over. So we'll just try to continue this way. So
Just
let's say we're
for
going over the consolidation report.
Yes, sir. And I had pulled up the 2019 consolidation values, and our gross taxable is up about 5.6 million. The totals are up for 12 million this year.
Okay, all right, thanks. Let's see then, let's see, you'll have to refresh me. I believe we had a motion and a second on the floor and we were in discussion. Is that right?
No, we had not made a motion to approve. There was no motion yet to approve the consolidation reports.
Okay, but you're recommending approval, so you need a motion to approve the
Correct.
consolidation report for real value as, or real property as presented.
Yes, sir. Well, it's for all property. That's one thing that Mr. McCants had asked once you went down, as your computer was going down. This consolidation report is for all property in Talbot County. It's for real, it's for
Oh, I'm
personal,
sorry. Okay,
it's
that's
for
right.
motor vehicles, mobile homes, timber,
right.
heavy duty equipment, everything.
Right, thanks for the clarification. That's right, we'd already done the two separately, right? That's right, okay.
So,
So we did,
go ahead.
well, I think you're about to say that we have a recommendation from Lauren to approve the consolidation report. Do we have a motion?
I recommend that I move that we approve the consolidation report from Lauren for the year 2020.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Let's see, Lauren, I believe the next one was to give the authority to sign the digest. Is that?
Well, the
right.
authorization to forward the digest files to the tax commissioner's office.
Okay, and I think that's what I was thinking of earlier that we do each year. That that the action we take before then, I go in and sign everything when they're ready. And let's see, I think you were saying earlier, is it going to be another week or two before you expect everything's going to be ready?
I don't know. Well, are you asking me before everything's ready to send to them, or until everything's ready for you to sign?
I'm talking about signing, go by. As I recall, I think all the.
No, I'm not sure when it'll be when you need to come and sign. The Board of Commissioners have to set the millage rate and all of that, I believe, before you sign the digest admission packet.
Correct.
Right. And so that is that still in process? So they're having hearings. Is that what's going on?
Yes, sir. But I'll give these files to the tax commissioner. I've got everything ready. It'll be immediately, as soon as we end the meeting, I'll be forwarding the files.
Okay, so then they prepare that packet that I sign. As I recall, they're usually signatures from like the board commissioners, chairman, and the school board chair, and the different mayors and so on, I believe. A number of us have to sign the final packet, if I remember right.
Yes, the chairman of the county commissioners and the school board.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so let's say you want, let's see, what your line item is the authority to forward.
Yes, sir. At this point, y'all have already approved all of my values, and so I need authorization to forward the digest files to the tax commissioner.
Okay, do we have a motion to authorize Lauren to forward the tax information to the tax commissioner?
I move that we give Lauren authorization to forward the digest files to the tax commission.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, the motion passes. Let's see, Lauren, what's the next thing on your agenda?
Members matters.
Okay, let's see, Sandra, what, do you have anything today?
No, I don't have anything.
Omar, do you have anything today?
I do not.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, Lauren, were you going to update in your chief update about the budget report, the email from Carol the other day?
I can, yes, sir.
Yeah, if you can do that, well, that's not, let's see, the only thing that comes to mind is that that was the budget report we had submitted back, I guess, in late March. That seemed like the camp, they whittled it a little bit, but for the most part, we got what we was requesting. But you can update us on that. And let's say I don't have anything else, I guess. On the training, I guess everything is still online. Is the courses online?
Some courses are online, not all of them.
And is the list on the Department of Revenue website?
Honestly, I'm not sure. We have been getting, just as they schedule them, we have been getting emails. It's my understanding that from what I've seen, the only courses that they're offering right now are the courses to certify new appraisers. New assessors. That's it.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the update. So then, I thought about our continuing our 40 hours. We have to have that. Did you say those type courses are not being offered right now?
I don't know, sir. I haven't seen anything to indicate that they are.
Okay. And then the conference, when the council caveat, I believe they said it was going to be in November. I guess all that's still tentative, and I guess as it gets closer, we will know more about that. Whether I guess that's what they call the short course each fall.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I had. And then I think the next item was your report.
What, Dan, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Lauren, did I understand you correctly or understand y'all correctly that the budget request that you had submitted to the Board of Commissioners, they trimmed it down some?
Dan was wanting me to give that under the chief appraiser update in the next line item.
Yeah, and I apologize with my computer down. I can't pull it up. So, but I remember the mapping was the big item that we had. That was a new item, that we had. I think the continuation where they do the splits that we have each year, but it was I guess the 3D mapping that was the new technology. But Lauren, you want to update us on that?
Yes, sir. So we did get a copy of our revised proposed budget back, and they had cut the mapping, not the mapping, but the new map, the request for a new aerial flight had been cut out of the budget. And honestly, we just got an email like about 30 minutes ago saying that our final budget was ready to be picked up, but she did not email a copy. And so I don't have that in front of me to tell you guys what the final numbers were yet. So I hate
that. When you pick that up, when you pick it up, just scan it and email it. Just put FY. Be no action. But I do recall. I think they were having another hearing this past Monday, weren't they? So that maybe that's a sign that it's moving forward.
So I just hate to speculate on what may have been cut and what might not have if they ended up making some additional changes, so I can,
Well, you're just reporting on that email we saw about 2 weeks ago. That's what we, that was the development since the last meeting, was that email. Seemed like she had an attachment in there where she sent you, what did she call it?
And that,
Preliminary?
the aerial photography was the main thing there. They had also notified us that they did not give any raises across the board. Our career advancement line item was removed. I don't know if that's been changed now or not. I would just have to get a copy of the finalized budget and forward it to you guys, because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thanks, Lauren. That's, let's see, Lauren, did you have some other things in your update this month?
Yes, sir. As you can see, we've been working on digest preparation. We have also we're current with all the deed transfers and PT 61s. We have been working on some mapping. In the last 2 months, we've corrected about 20 mapping issues, resolved about 20 mapping issues. I think that leaves a total of maybe 500 mapping issues, just down from over 4,000 when we started. So that's huge. We've been out checking some properties for conservation for those recommendations. We've been working on the personal property. We've been handling calls with appeals, and everything's going smoothly. Y'all have any questions?
Okay. Let's see, y'all are still there at the office, and customers are coming up to the carport there and buzzing. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, sir.
Right, and y'all are meeting with them outside there.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Lauren on our update, or anything about what they got going on this past month, or what they're planning this upcoming month? Okay. Let's see. Lauren, is the next item the next meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. Do we need to meet before the end of August?
I'm not sure, honestly. If there's a need for that, I guess we could have a called meeting, but at this point, the majority of our business for the year is handled. I will have to have approval to send appeals to the Board of Equalization, but I'm not quite ready for that yet.
Well, and too, what I was thinking of was all the digest. It sounds like today we've done the steps where when you let me know the package is ready for signatures, I'll stop by and do the signing that I have to do.
Yes, sir.
And then that reminds me too, I noticed today we had 3 or 4 CUBA applications. Last month seems like we had 5 or 6, and a couple of them actually involved my property. So I was going to ask either Sandra or Homer if they would mind, when they're in Talbot, stopping by and sign it. I just thought it would probably look better if I didn't sign my own.
Okay.
So that'd be a big favor. And then
Not a problem.
then that
And I have all the files that need signing sitting here on the table. And so we wouldn't have any problem maintaining social distance if somebody wanted to come in and sign those files. If they would just let me know that they were coming, I could unlock the back door to let you in, and then you could just sit at the table and get the files signed.
That
right.
sounds.
And then as I recall, there's some that there's some that require the chair's signature You can
Well, we
segregate
haven't
those now.
approved any, we have not approved those error and releases, because I know sometimes y'all like to look at them and ask questions, and so I have that file, it hasn't even been on the agenda. So
Okay,
that,
okay.
those are not ready for signatures. The main thing I have to have signed are my covenants and, my homesteads.
Okay, great. So, yeah, like I said, if y'all could,
And the minutes need to be signed.
Well, we haven't approved them. That's been off the agenda too, because I know sometimes y'all like to actually hold those, and so we haven't approved any minutes since March. I was hoping that whenever a time came when we could actually meet in person again, we could do that, but if y'all want me to, I can email all of it and we can put it on the next agenda for approval. I just figured that would be simpler to do when everybody was here and could sign in person.
well,
Okay,
based on what I mean, I know at the time, a few months ago, we were all thinking this pandemic was going to be rapidly, or would be behind us, and now it looks like it's sort of no end in sight or in the immediate horizon. We probably do need to go ahead
I'll get those minutes ready for y'all to review. We'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting, and then as you can come and sign them. That'll be fine.
Right, that sounds like a plan. So, and it sounds like by the next meeting, a lot of our annual type business will be caught up. So,
Yes, sir. And also, unless, we may have to have a called meeting to handle some business for the month of August, but I would really like to try to get back on a schedule where we're meeting towards the beginning of the month, instead of at the end, if that's at all possible. And so if y'all wanted to just say, if we need to have an August meeting, I'll get with you guys and let you know, but otherwise maybe try to get the meeting back towards the beginning of the month for September. Would that be possible?
We should be able to do that. Let's see, what would the 4 weeks from today, what would that be?
The 4 weeks from today would be the 26th, but the 5 weeks would put us right at the beginning of September. I know we've got a holiday, September the 7th, which is the second week, but if we could get in on that first week of September, Wednesday would actually be the 2nd. That would allow us to get the July and August personal property records prepared for the meeting and approved so that we could send those notices pretty expediently. Does any time that first week of September work for any of y'all?
It's fine with me, but let me make sure I understand what you're saying. We're not going to meet in August unless it's a called meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm okay for September.
Yeah, that sounds fine. I think I may have something that Wednesday the 2nd. I think my mother has I promised to take her to an appointment, but I need to double check that. But I can check that and confirm with you. We may have to meet either later in that day or another day that week.
And I don't have any problem with an evening meeting. If we need to do an evening meeting that day, that would be fine with me. And just for clarification, did you guys get your quarter checks for the second quarter? Everybody got those?
Back in June,
Yeah.
I believe I did. I think you had called us up there before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay. So, I mean, and Dan, if you can't do the 2nd, the 3rd would be fine. Either one.
Hold them both tentative, and I'll let you. Her appointment's either. She told me it was Wednesday, but I think she told me it was the 3rd. So I got to figure out. She didn't have a calendar when she was telling me. So when I went to put it on mine, I realized there was a discrepancy there.
Okay.
And,
well, we'll just discuss that in text, and then I'll announce it. That's all I've got for this month.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you staff, all the hard work. Y'all get things, ready for us to do our business.
Yes, sir.
And then, all right, well, if nothing else, we'll, have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
11:20.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, all right, well, thanks everyone, and, thanks for all you do.
All right, thank
And,
y'all.